On Sunday, September 18th, 2022, Ground Zero 360 had a special exhibition opening at the majestic TPC Sawgrass in Florida to commemorate the 21st anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Former Irish Prime Minister Enda Kenny was a distinguished guest at the event.
Thank you, Jimmy, for this. About your wife, Maura. I will treasure it, actually. The emblem is, and the motto and the logo is very clear, never forget. And when you look at these pictures here, taken by Paul's wife, they speak for themselves. I was 10 years of age when President Kennedy reminded the world that man holds today in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. How many times in the last 50 years have we strayed near that cliff? How close to it are we now? These words are in this logo: never forget, and vigilance, and resilience, and courage, epitomized by all of those in 9/11 and so many other occasions, speaks for what I believe is the optimism of humanity and our ability to deal, whatever the difficulty, with an outcome that will preserve what it is and who it is that we are.
Mr. Kenny received a presentation from 9/11 family members at the event. Honoured guest and Ground Zero 360 supporter Dolores McCall collected a special presentation at the event.
That Dolores McCall, who's not here, is also a visionary philanthropist who supports this competition very strongly, and in fact it would not be able to take place without her support and without her financial support as well. So Dolores, we wish you well in making a recovery, and we'll soon see you back again.
I love being involved in it. I really do. So I like for people around the world to see what can be done. And it was something that was to tear America apart and down. But I think it's only brought us together and made us stronger. God just put me in that position. Had I not been there or answered the call, somebody else would have.
On Monday, September 19th, first responders, 9/11 families and dignitaries gathered at TPC Sawgrass for an emotional ceremony and to remember all of the victims and their families. Maggie MacDonald was at the commemoration and spoke of her memories of her late husband, NYPD police officer Brian MacDonald.
I am so grateful for everything that Paul and Nicola have done. They put together, and I'm sure it's difficult every year, gathering everyone together, the logistics of all of it, getting it all done on time. I don't know how they do it, but it's very much appreciated by myself and all the other families. It makes us feel special, it truly does. And I know that, Brian's an angel looking over us now, and hopefully he is proud of the work that we're doing to make sure that no one ever forgets. All of the people who were affected on 9/11, myself, my children, the rest of my family, all of the families, one day we won't all be here. So who's going to tell our story? So it's important to make sure everyone hears it. It's difficult, it's not always easy to be here, and it's in a sense kind of reliving what happened when you have to think about it all the time. But it's important. It's the only way I know of to make sure that Brian and all of those who perished on 9/11 will never be forgotten.
Louisa Chaffee was on hand with her twin boys to remember her late husband and the boys' father, NYPD Lieutenant Steve Chaffee.
It's extremely important for so many reasons. First and foremost, for my children to see the love and support around them and to understand who their dad was and how much he meant to so many people. And second, to raise awareness. And as the speakers that we had today said, to continue this legacy, to understand what happened on that day and what is still happening today, how many people are still suffering. This is an amazing organization. I'm so proud to be a part of it. They really feel like family to me. They've just embraced me, and they knew my husband personally. So this is really, these are people that really connect with me and understand myself and my children and what we've been through. And the organization in and of itself has done such incredible things, and I just think, again, raising that awareness and keeping the legacy going and providing a piece of history that we need to continue for other people to understand. Steve was really a tremendous person, and I know professionally people really appreciated who he was, and they looked up to him as a leader, as a lieutenant, but personally he was also someone that I think I strive to be like. And these people are everyday heroes because they really sacrificed themselves to be at that site. And how hard is that to do that, where most people would be petrified of what would happen? They were there day in and day out, helping. And whether it was their job or not, they wanted to be there. That was where they wanted to be.
Retired NYPD police officer Jimmy Smith reflected on his memories on the 21st anniversary of the attacks and spoke of his late wife, police officer Moira Smith.
The exhibit is wonderful. The artwork is, just keeps expanding. It gets, more poignant each year, and it becomes such a, I always look forward to coming and seeing what's new, what's a new expression, a new artist. They made a tough weekend a little easier for us, and I appreciate that. The outpouring of support has been, great. I try to talk about what Moira's heroism, Moira's sacrifice, and sometimes I forget to talk about Moira the person, and what a wonderful woman she was, and she, she was more than just a police officer and a first responder. She was a wife, a mother, a sister, a cousin, a friend to so many, and I don't want to lose that too when we just talk about her being the hero and. The rescuer. I would like to, sometimes I got to stop myself and say, yes, let's talk about Moira, Moira Smith, the human being, the person, more than just the hero, the loving person that she was.
TPC Sawgrass Director of Operations Matt Borocz worked closely with Ground Zero 360 to bring the exhibition to Florida. TPC Sawgrass hosted a 9/11 remembrance golf outing to honour the victims and their families.
Just overall, really proud to host the event and partner with the Vision Cup, and also really proud of the friendships that we gathered through hosting this event, especially with Paul McCormick. His inspiration, his passion, Ground Zero 360 Foundation, remembering the 9/11 attacks and the victims and their families, and combining the Vision Cup as well. So it was just something that, as our core being charity here at the PGA Tour, was something that we felt strongly about and wanted to move forward hosting.
New York Yankees pitching legend Jason Grimsley was at the event and spoke of his own 9/11 memories.
Actually, in an airplane, American Airlines airplane, going back to Kansas City. I'd come home to Louisiana, which is where my wife is from, and we had left Lafayette, and we're on a plane to Dallas to go to Kansas City. So I'm on an American Airlines plane there, and that was a strange occurrence. Flight attendants didn't say anything, pilots didn't say anything. We just land. The flight attendants and pilots get off the plane. We're sitting on a plane. They didn't tell us to deplane. We get off. We go in the terminal. You're at DFW. That place is always packed. There was no one in there, and it was almost like, all right, I don't know what's going on. I just remember being extremely proud of America as a country, the way we responded to that tragedy. All of us coming together, and it's beautiful to be able to hear somebody in in Paul's shoes. The man was down there. He was on the front lines. He was there for a while. He gave his vision. Others have given their life. To listen to the hope that he has for this, not only this country, but this world. You know, it's really inspiring to listen to people like those two and the speeches they gave. You know, it amazes me at the intellect and the heart that people still have. You know, there's still a fight out there.
On Monday evening, the 9/11 families, the first responders and everyone at the event were all treated to a special concert by country music legend Billy Dean.
Gonna hold who needs holding, mend what needs mending, walk what needs walking, though it needs an extra mile, and pray what needs praying, say what needs saying, 'cause we're only here for a little while.
Billy spoke of his memories and how 9/11 had affected him and the powerful importance of remembering.
The folks that lost loved ones in 9/11, our police departments, our fire departments, and the outpour of support from around the world, from your country and from just all over the world it was a time in the United States that I had never felt such unity. I wish we could get back to that, you know, and not take such a tragedy like 9/11 to have it, you know, to have that happen. But it's you know, it's very special. We're sitting with a couple of people tonight that a police officer who lost his wife. She was also a police officer. You know, it's one thing to see it and read about these kinds of events in the newspaper or see them on television, but when you sit next to a person and you see the anguish and the despair on their face after all of these years still from losing a loved one, and not only that, from these men and women that are actually putting their lives on the line every day for our benefit to protect, you know, our rights and everything, and it's getting harder and harder to find those guys. So for me to be here, and my wife, who's a school teacher, to be here, she's my hero. It really means a lot to just be able to participate and just for a little bit of, you know, to give something back. A guy told me one time, a veteran, military veteran, I said, "Man, what can I do for you?" And he said, "Just be an American worth dying for." And that's why I'm here.
For information on Ground Zero 360, visit www.groundzero360.org or visit us on Facebook at Ground Zero 360.